so thank you everyone for joining in. This is Edgars from CrowdedHero and I'm Annamária from BlockBen, Marketing Manager. And this conversation will be about CrowdedHero's partnership with Nyala. And the project is rolling out in the next few days. And here's Edgars with me to talk about the project launch, and this whole concept of using the DLT line and everything. And hi, Edgars, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Annamária. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us, Crowded Hero. My colleague Jans was with you already a couple of months ago, and I guess I'm here to continue the talk. And we already laid out a couple of things we can talk about and discuss regarding our project, maybe a bit more regarding also what's happening in the space overall. So, yeah, let's go.
Okay, perfect. And what are you doing in CrowdedHero?
In CrowdedHero, I'm currently product owner, project manager, product owner, depends on how you look at it. And currently, I'm overseeing a couple of technical integrations, also onboarding a couple of partners, including the project we will launch in these days, Simpleros. And currently shedding some light in this interview on what's going on.
Yes, yes. So I believe that we should introduce Nyala to the listeners and how it connects to CrowdedHero and why is it good partnership or cooperation for CrowdedHero?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Regarding anyone who has been, let's say, in the Web3 or blockchain space, there has been this talk regarding real world assets. I think since I was back in the space in 2017, all the time there has been this talk. And also regarding Crowded Hero, up until now, we were running mostly on equity-based crowdfunding projects. But then a year and a half ago, my colleague Janis was in a web summit, and one of our German partners mentioned that there's a possibility on financial tokenization, on a way how to tokenize different securities. And that's how time passed. That's how we met our partners from Nyala. During this time, it took a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of documental work because Web3 blockchain, still for the classical financial term, it is a bit of a buzzword. It's a bit of a wild west. So thankful to MiCA, Markets and Crypto Assets, the regulated framework we have now in the European Union. Thanks to this, there are different companies that can legally, transparently run different tokenization projects. And yes, Nyala is one of them. They are also part of the European Blockchain Association, different legal entities, also the German Electronical Institution program, if I remember correctly. And it took us almost a year, but it has been finally done. And during the next days, we will run our first project. I can also talk a little bit more on how we use Nyala, or maybe that for later.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes, that was going to be my next question. How you will use it and what benefits this DLT technology have for the crowdfunders and people who want to invest in crowdfunding projects? And also, I just want to take just a quick sentences to say about the Mika that yes, that also BlockBen is able to work with CrowdedHero and also like licensed in the same country because of the Mika license. And it's very good that you are not only working with us but other Mika licensed companies too. And of course, you can see that this is the same license but for different kind of uses. Like we are very different from Nyala, and also it's very good to see other companies doing the best in their field. So I believe it's very good, and yes, people should hear more about how Nyla helps you and your people in crowdfunding.
Yeah. I don't know if we will maybe touch upon it later, but I'll also mention a bit about Mika and about the regulated framework. That it is an awesome thing to have, because I think also in your experience and in mine, there were different times. I know that we had a company in Estonia which also gave different electronical institution licenses and everything. But Mika is really a framework that holds more or less the European Union together. And as you just pointed out, it's awesome that we can have like a collaboration that's fully transparent. Because to be honest, for all of this to work, technically CrowdedHero is collaborating with Nyala, also with you with BlockBen, and it's awesome that we can have this framework. Regarding Nyala, what is the service? How our both customers and investors can use it is basically we can now fully legally issue DLT-based bonds. So bonds that are on basically digital ledger technology on the blockchain. And for investors, I think this opens a new asset class, as basically it is a regulated fixed income digital instrument. There are clear yield terms. It's also a professional custodian, and there is no dependence on any mystical equity exit or something. And another thing is also, I think, quite awesome that if before what we offered to our investors was equity crowdfunding, then if we do DLT bonds now, then it's a bit more trust for the investors because, at least in our case, if a company issues bonds, then they have some kind of financial track record, they have some kind of a turnover, maybe some profit. So it is another level of trust, I think, for the investors also. And to mention an example, for example, on Sinclair's, the project we were gonna run, the first campaign we will have, I think, will be for about 200,000 euros. The annual yield, I think, will be 10.5%, and the length of the bond will be 2 years. So basically, the users register on CrowdedHero, KYC procedure as usually. And through our platform, they basically choose the project. They choose an option to invest, and it's just a couple of clicks and it's done. And also, all the financial process is done through another of our partners, Lemonway, which is also a financial custodian. So in this case, all of the parties involved are fully regulated, licensed. You can find it online, and DLT bonds. That is the way we will unfold now. Because another thing is also that for equity crowdfunding, the way we were operating up until now, is that it is maybe a bit more harder step for companies to do, because in order to do it, you need a joint stock company. And I don't know how it is. It's a bit different in every European Union country, but in Latvia at least, you need 25,000 euro capital. Of course, it's your capital, you can use it for a bit later, but still, it's a process that maybe not all companies can so easily do. But with DLT bonds and with help of Nyala, it's basically any company that wants to register with us, they of course fill the KISS or key investment information sheet, and they provide us the information. We onboard them, and the issue of the bonds on blockchain, it's on Polygon network. It's, I would say, I don't want to say a couple of hours, but let's say a couple of days. But if you look on the traditional finance, it can be weeks, it can be maybe months. So for the investors and our clients, it's much more faster, it's transparent, it's cheaper, well, all the positive sides. So it's a good way how I will maybe repeat myself on how to see how real life assets are coming to life on blockchain. Because of course, the way how the blockchain ledger can be used, financial assets makes the most sense. And this is a step towards that.
Yeah, and is it something that your users notice on a regular basis, that if I want to buy something at CrowdedHero, I register to your website or your application or something, and am I noticing anything that something is equity and something is on DLT, or is there a difference? I need to do the KYC either way, or
Basically, you won't notice that much. Only it's I don't know. If you check out at any online store, it's copy paste the same process.
Okay.
Only, of course, at the end of the transactions, you will see that you have purchased this token. Here's the transaction, and you will see the blockchain register. But otherwise, yeah, if you have used any Web3 interface or DeFi platforms, then it's nothing like that because yeah, let's say that our investors and users, they don't feel the interaction with the blockchain level only so far that at the end they can see the transaction.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I believe that for the normal users, I believe that this is a general for in the EU still that Web3 integrations are hard for normal users and to remember like these codes like the 12 wording to log in and not to forget and everything. So yeah, I believe that the Web3 integrations are still a bit hard or hard to like um, adapt to these things. Like I'm not able to forget any of these because there is no one to help me and there is not any company that I can like write to the support that I need to like change my password or something. So I believe that this is something next level and most people are not that ready for this. So this is a very good thing that you are using just the normal ways and you can also use the user will see the hash codes and check and everything. This is quite the same at the BlockBen application because we have all these things like KYC, source of fund, and but at the end of the day, it's in blockchain. Everything is in blockchain. But if you are logging into our application, you see the normal company. But at the end of the day, if you make a transaction, you will be able to see the hash codes and to check them and the blockings and transactions. So yeah, this is quite similar.
yeah, and that's a good thing that we have these because also a couple of our investors and some of your users are also from the blockchain space, and for them, if they don't see the hash, if they don't see the transactions, then again they're gonna scratch their heads. Is this legit? Or because again, yeah, the blockchain space has been a wild west, and there have been so many unsuccessful projects, let's call them like that. And people are getting a bit more careful, which is a good thing, I
Yeah.
think. And yeah, this is somehow we are bridging the worlds together, slowly, step by step.
Yes, yes, of course. And do you want to say some things about the Simpleros? Why this project is the first one on the DLT, or is are there any companies that are coming to this platform in the near future?
Yeah, we have other projects. Why Simpleros? Because we already had a project with them.
Okay.
So yeah, so we have had a collaboration before, and we're glad that they decided to be the first ones to roll out. And yeah, we will have a couple of other projects upcoming. There are going to be a couple of German medtech companies, also some applications that can run this. And yeah, we have 3 to 4 projects upcoming. Yeah, because we started actively working on the onboarding a couple of months ago, and then still all the legal frameworks because yeah, also to onboard the company, still there are many legal requirements that we need to do. And for Simpleros, it was a bit longer, getting the ISIN number and other things,
Yeah.
and simply that took us a bit longer. So we appreciate our partners for being so attentive and respectful of the time. But yeah, now that we have the flow up and ready, then now I think we can onboard quite quickly. I think within a week, more or less, we can onboard the platform, onboard
Sounds
the
very
project.
yeah. Could you tell us more about the ISIN number? How do you call it? Because I don't think that most of the people know why do you need it for a company.
Yeah, well, it is the International Securities Identification Number, and since bonds is a security, you definitely need it. And that could be, yeah, a bit maybe different from the structure how we run before, because previously, if we had a joint stock company, then it's quite easy. The user just signs the agreement, the shares are registered, and when the users are buying equity, they basically are buying shares, so it's just a transfer of shares. Now, if it is bonds, it's simply a security. And why it took so long? Because even though Mika has been released, and I think it came to force actually only a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I think.
Oh,
I don't know the
of
dates.
course, already like I don't know, a year and a half ago, but the transition period
Yeah,
ended. Yeah,
yeah, precisely. The transition period ended, and even though it has happened, still different countries understand it a bit differently. So
yeah,
for
yeah,
us to find a government-related entity that can provide the size and number, we had to look all over Europe, and
yeah,
and we finally found it. And yeah, now when we register our next projects, it will be also a bit more faster. So
yeah,
again, this is yeah another maybe layer of trust from the investors that if they will look on our project, they will see the ISIN number, which is basically the 12-character code,
yeah.
and yeah, and they will be
It's a very
also again to check that it's legit.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a very important number. So even though it's only 12 characters, it's very good. Yeah, this is also the same about MiCA, not just the regulations all over Europe, but some countries took it differently, and also some countries are decided not to took it, like Poland. But we have a very good conversation and relation with the Latvian. The ball Bank of Latvia. No, yes, Latvia. But even though they are trying their best, I believe that they are a bit behind regarding the Web3 integrations and everything because there is still an ongoing conversation like what you can do, what you cannot, and there's an actual conversation because I believe that they come from more of a traditional point of view, not from the crypto world of view, and there are some things that you need to like verify or clarify that how you are going to fit these Web3 things into the regulated MiCA world. So yeah, I know that we have some difficulties with this, but the conversation is very good with the Bank of Latvia, and they are very open to discuss the possibilities, what we can do, and how we can integrate more from the Web3 world. So yeah, I know these struggles, and not only with these ISN number, but it can happen with just a general white paper,
And here,
which
yeah,
we
big shout out also to Latvian Blockchain Association because it is thanks to them that this talk and this dialogue with the Bank of Latvia has been ongoing and has been successful. They've done a lot of work. They've worked with a lot of government entities, with the private sector. They've been all over in the conference and uh, not an advertisement, just I'm very happy because I have been in this sector and it's awesome to see that people in your country actually understand the technical side of it, understand the idea of it, the kind of, would say, global vibe, global vibration, and that we are going towards it. And I know that the guys from Latvian Blockchain Association, I don't know if it's still active, but at one point they wanted to make Latvia the Web3 leaders, European leaders in Web3. And I think it's fully possible, by the way. Our Estonian neighbors and Lithuanian neighbors are showing a good way on that. Of course, the policies change and things go, but yeah, it's a good it's a good way how to see how if you actually have some kind of strategy in mind and if you have a goal in mind that makes sense, you can pull it through.
yeah.
So let's hope it stays good, stays on a good track.
Yes, it definitely stays on a good track because I believe that in 2026, Latvia is very strong in these blockchain associations and MiCA related things. So they are definitely making a very good job in like um, inviting all these other companies from other countries from the EU. So it's very good. And also, just to summarize, everything what we talked about Nyala and the upcoming project Simpleros. And it's been a good journey, a bit long journey, but finally it releases in 1 or 2 days. Maybe that at the point that they will see this conversation, this will be out, and people are able to check on the Crowded Heroes website or application or both.
Yeah, 100%. We are on anyone from EU can register, can check. Just in case we have also our contacts, anyone can contact me or my colleagues and because half of the projects we had up until now, we had more local projects. So if there were any discussions, any conversations, that they were of course direct. In this case, we are fully online. I asked my colleague Yanis if there will be a place where you can meet us, like face to face, and he said online. But that's how it happens these days. That the business is online, and that we can meet and talk there. You mentioned Latvia. We have a couple of huge conferences also on Block and different other ones, and that's the place where we can chat. But they're happening not that often yet.
Yeah, sounds perfect. Thank you very much for the conversation, and I'm looking forward to check out Simpleros. Thank you very much.
Mutually. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having CrowdedHero.
Of course. See you in another recording.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.